Hey, welcome back everyone. I hope you're all having an amazing Sunday and the end of this weekend as we approach, of course, the very end of July into early August, which is when Lucasfilm's really going to begin marketing the Star Wars Andor series and ramping up basically the marketing of many of the characters to be introduced in the show before they move on to the marketing of other shows out there like Bad Batch 2 and, of course, Tales of the Jedi for this fall. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, ever since the sequel trilogy, a lot of fans have always been asking for a lot of different things to be made by Favreau and Filoni, and let me just be clear that Favreau and Filoni really do listen to the fans, and they actually do listen. It's not like the PR stunts that are done by Kathleen Kennedy or by many of the Lucasfilm, spokes, people over there that actually get involved with all of that. This actually is somebody, Favreau, that listens to the fans, as well as Filoni. I mean, they really deeply care about fans, the franchise, where it stands, the philosophy of it all, and how George Lucas is the one that created it back in 1977. Now, on top of that, a lot of things are happening right now for both Mando 3 and Mando 4. Now, given that, of course, we also have the Book of Boba Fett Season 2 that has been actually on the table now for a couple of weeks, and it initially was cancelled. Now Bob Chapek is bringing it back and has agreed to make it a darker and grittier series, and that Favreau really wants to focus on it being a show about bounty hunting. But I digress. Now, with that being said, alright, this is where things begin to really, get all the more exciting for the future of Star Wars. Now, with, of course, Disney and Lucasfilm now working on The Mandalorian Season 3 and 4 back-to-back, Favreau and Filoni already have a series of storyboards complete for the 4th season of Mando that is going to resonate with fans since it is set to accomplish what fans have been asking for since 2014. Now, additionally, it's described that as of right now, one of the finalized and approved scenes to be made for Mando Season 4 is set to involve a full-on reunion scene between both Luke, Han, and Leia that is said to take place some years after the events of Mando Season 3. Now, Favreau is looking to creating a big time jump between Mando 3 and 4 to progress Luke Skywalker's journey and growth as a Jedi a bit faster, and to also explore a character from the sequels, young Ben Solo this time around. Now, it's described that both Han and Leia will be remade the same way that remade, of course, Leia in Rogue One, where Luke is going to be using a combination of different technologies to truly emulate the character as close as possible. Now, the storyboard involves a scene that takes place on the world of Ossus, a location of Luke's Jedi temple, and in Legends, was once the home of the Jedi. Now, one detailed shot involves a moment in which the Falcon is landed in front of Luke's Jedi temple, where actually young Ben Solo is actually seen in the middle of the frame. Another storyboard features Luke, Han, and Leia eventually coming closer together, where Luke is shaking Han's hand, where Leia is resting her hand on Luke's shoulder. A bubble of text that Favreau put into the storyboard is described to showcase a piece of dialogue where Luke says, "I will take care of him." This is most likely in reference to training Ben Solo as a Jedi and ridding him of the dark side tendencies from his parents neglecting him. Now, let me just pause here for a second. Now, in case you guys did not know, the main reason why Ben Solo turned to the dark side, if you guys are invested in the comics and the books, is because he was neglected as a child. Alright, he didn't really have anybody to look up to, per se. Han was always busy with his smuggling business, with racing and doing all these different things. And Leia, of course, was very busy with politics in this post-return of the Jedi era, because she didn't really, train through the ways of the Jedi all that much. As we saw in Episode 9's flashback, she gave that up in an instant like that. So, Ben Solo was basically on his own as a child, alright? And even well into his teens even. He had a lot of neglecting going on, and that's when Snoke came into the picture, which, by the way, was controlled by Palpatine, and Snoke acted like somebody that cared about Ben Solo and his upbringing, and he basically manipulated him as a kid. So, moving forward from this, alright, this you can see Favreau and Filoni are finally fulfilling what Mark Hamill wanted to happen in the sequels, what we wanted to happen in the sequels, and what a lot of fans have just been asking for, what was common sense, right? I never really understood why we got the sequel trilogy where all the characters come back, the original trilogy characters, Luke, Han, and Leia, and they all never really came together at once. We never got that. And to me, I thought that was just insane. I thought that was so out of place and made absolutely no sense. I understand that they wanted Luke in hiding in Episode 7. I got that. I also understand that, Carrie Fisher passed away, right after, I believe, what was it, like The Last Jedi, give or take, right before it came out. But with that being said, though, there's a lot to be done here, because this, of course, is going to take place on Ossus. So he goes on to actually, make the fans' dreams come true. Favreau is really trying to turn things around. So, moving forward from this, Favreau and Filoni already had a meeting with Lucas about this plan for Mando 4, which is set to debut sometime during the holiday season of 2024. So, mind you, we still got a ways off until we're even going to get a glimpse of this. Now, Chewbacca eventually pops into the scene where he is actually seen in the background sitting under a tree eating some kind of fruit on Ossus. One of the final boards involves Han and Leia walking away with Chewie as Grogu is in Luke's hands and arms, with Ben Solo by his side. A bubble of text now attached to Luke where dialogue featured involves Luke saying, "It's time for you, Ben, your parents will be proud." Now these sketches for Mando 4 have been complete and finalized to be used in the script as one of the big additions to the Mandoverse. Favreau always, of course, wanted to use the character to have a special reunion, and wanted to do so in their youth as opposed to when they were old, which would have been more difficult to do and pull off anyways in Favreau's eyes. So, here's the thing about this, alright? I don't know if you guys read up on the recent lore in the Shadows of the Sith book. In that book, there's a lot to be told. I do suggest, by the way, that you guys check that out if you like reading. It really tells you a lot about Luke in this post-return of the Jedi era, more so leading up closer to the sequels, so he's older. But it does explore more about Ossus. It explores more with Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost in there, and the world of Exegol. So, it's very lore-driven. So, moving from that, this reunion is long overdue, and whether or not it's going to have a big impact on fans is all dependent on how, number 1, it's going to be executed, number 2, how well it's going to be shot, and number 3, exactly how well the characters are going to be remade. And what I mean by that is, how well is the technology going to go to the point where Leia looks like young Leia and Han looks like young Han? Personally, I think that they're going to be able to pull it off. They did a good job in Rise of Skywalker, and they also did a good job in Rogue One. But mind you, in Rise of Skywalker, it was different technology that was more so on the CGI and archived footage front, whereas in Rogue One, it was a different approach. It was a very detailed and specific approach. I think I personally like the Rogue One style better. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.